It's the time of the week again, the Gift of Gaming podcast, and we are so unprepared this week that this episode, we're going to plan some episodes. All right, it's me, your host, Darren Wade, and today on the episode, I am joined by Craig, the Critical Nolan. Craig, how the hell are you?
I am very good, Darren. Delighted finally to be talking about the greatest of all video games.
That is true. Super Smash Brothers is our topic for today, but it's a planning session about how because we've talked for a long time about Super Smash Brothers on the podcast.
Yeah,
and how
it gets a little mention in every single episode. I'd say at some, well, for me anyway, some point. It's
because we spent so much time. I was only talking to Niall about it the other day, and he was like, "Oh, what's your plan for your next episode?" And I was like, "Oh, Smash Brothers." He was like, "Oh, yeah, about time." Like, considering it's the game you play the most of, I was like, "Yeah, probably
by
is."
a land mile.
But before we get into that, Craig, I wanted to see, burn up some time here on the podcast in case our planning goes really well and it's really quick. What are you playing at the minute?
Oh, that was a good one, and I finished it yesterday. So yeah, I didn't expect you to come to me with this, but Arkham Knight. I played the other two to death, not Origins, that one's shit, as I always say.
Yeah.
But Arkham Knight, I just thought, you know what, I'm in a bit of a Batman buzz, I'll stick it on and I'll just go through the main story and see what it's like. I am now 98% complete on everything. Like,
wow,
I just cannot help it because I just went, all right, I'll just go from scene to scene. But I'm just like, man, the amount of things you can do in this and the amount of fun it is that I really wanted to just spend more time doing those things.
And is there is it like
it.
collectibles and
so
that kind of
many
stuff?
If you played Zelda, it's kind of like Tears of the Kingdom with the shrines, but with Riddler puzzles, and they're just everywhere, and there's always a little gimmick to how you do it. And some of them aren't great, but some of the other ones will really make you think or use a gadget in a different way. And you go, oh, cool.
I didn't know
I could put that to practice maybe.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very well done. And some people went on about the Batmobile being kind of shit that it's in there. But the first two games had become a bit like stale. I mean, the third game, if the Batmobile wasn't there, the third game wouldn't offer enough to really make you love the game.
Yeah.
But the Batmobile and the way Batman can he can be beating the shit out of a bad guy and then press square and X and he knocks the guy up in the air and the Batmobile shoots them. There's so many ways it
evolved part of the
brought into the core gameplay that you're using it constantly just to get to new places, to drive around, to destroy tanks. People hated that type of thing. But there's also high-speed chases where you use your Batmobile to really knock other cars off the road and stuff. And the whole city is built for the Batmobile. So even though they had Arkham City in the second game, they redesigned it completely so that the Batmobile can traverse everything, which I'm sure took a lot of work, and it really shows because you can't have any civilians in there at all. They're like, I don't know, how are we going to do this? Because Batman is just ramming people left, right, and center.
You don't want to turn into a GTA game.
So everyone gets electrocuted when he rams over them, as though the Batmobile just has this little static thing that hits them with, but it knocks them out cold instantly. But it is so much fun in just taking down Joker, or well, not Joker because I can't really spoil it, but he's in your head the whole game, and it's really this evolution of fear with Batman, and he doesn't want to go too dark, but the story is just exceptional.
Is that the one where there's a level in it and there's a Joker, massive, like a giant Joker in the middle, and you're running around it's almost like from a side view, just trying to hide or move away from him, and he's kind of is that the game I'm thinking of?
It was Scarecrow, maybe.
Oh,
doing that.
Scarecrow!
And
I
you
think
had to hide from his
gaze.
gaze. That was Scarecrow from the first one, Arkham Asylum. Now those games are back, but they're with the Batmobile, and they're purely optional. At no point in the main story does that happen because it's kind of it would break the game almost if out of nowhere you're just having these fucking freakouts. So that's kind of like bonus AOR mission stuff. That's not even in the main game, So I haven't done any of them, and I'm at 98%. It's.
And what's your 2% left? What have you got to do?
Riddler trophies, and I'm not going to get them all, unfortunately, because I have about 80 of 240.
Oh my god! Yeah. Do you want to?
Because I don't want to go out of my way to get them. I'm just if they're there, they're there. But I'm not going to spend 10 hours hunting.
Don't make the game unfun for yourself. Just right at the death.
Because everything I've done has been really fun up till now. But I'm I bet half of them would be fun to get, and the other half probably wouldn't be. And doing 10 bad ones in a row might,
Yeah, be oh well, I'm done with this game.
I bought the game, and then Well, I didn't buy the game because I already owned it, but I was able to download it for free on the PlayStation
game catalog, whatever.
Whatever. And then when I went online to see the DLC, they had the season pass for like €2. It was €2 to buy it all, and it comes with 6 extra playable characters in Robin, Batwoman, fucking the Red Hood, Harley Quinn, like Ezreal. You get to play as all these characters in their own one-player content, which lasts about an hour or two, but it's pretty good. Like,
yeah. For €2,
like that would have been maybe €40 on release, but it's €2 now. So I'm like, you'd be a fool not to play it, and some of it's really good.
Because based on all of your, because I think there was a good few weeks ago you were talking about the Arkham series again, about how like, oh, you really wanted to play it, whatever, and I think I saw it on sale at one point. It was like £7 for the trilogy, so I was like, well, €7 for 3 games. I'll get into. I'll put them on my to-do list at some point and get around to it. That's. I'm loving that. I'm loving that you're into. Are you watching any of the movies as well?
I watched. Yeah, of course. I was like 10 hours in, and then I watched Batman Begins, and then I watched The Dark Knight, and then rather than watch The Dark Knight
Returns.
Returns.
Oh, Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, rather than watch that, because like, I'm not in the mood to watch that. I just watched Assault on Arkham, which is a lot closer to the Arkham games. Like, and it's to be honest, it's just Suicide Squad, but it's not called that.
Nice.
But they based the Suicide Squad movie on Assault on Arkham. It's the exact same story. Like,
amazing. I purchased in the last week, which is unlike me. I purchased 2 games. 2? Yeah. One
was an absolute disgrace, and you stopped playing it to play the second one, or you bought 2 intentional.
I bought one intentional, which was Astrobot. I had pre-ordered that. I was keen for Astrobot. I loved the Astrobot's Playroom that came with the PS5. I platinumed the shit out of that.
But was it this bad that you already bought a second game?
No. Astrobot's amazing.
It is?
It's so. Before I go into my second one, I'll just go into Astrobot for the minute. It's a joy, Craig. It's an absolute joy of a game, and I knew it kind of would be, but I didn't expect it to be as much of a joy as it is. Like, it's the obvious comparisons are to like the Mario Galaxies or Mario Odysseys, like that kind of platformer one. But as a PlayStation buff and a guy who's always played PlayStation, the amount of PlayStation Easter eggs, Sony Easter eggs in that game is just so much fun. So the whole premise of the game, and it's not complicated, and that's what I needed. Do you know what I mean? I've come off like Rebirth and what other game was I playing there recently? But like big open world games, and this is just a nice like palate cleanser for a while. Like I don't think it's an overly long game or anything like that, but it's just a nice little platformer. But you have 5 worlds. I've cleared 3 of them. But at the end of each world, you're introduced to another robot. Like the whole thing is to rescue loads of robots. And some of the robots in it are PlayStation characters. So I've come across like Ico and got like Prapper the Rapper, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. All those kind of characters are out through it.
I don't know any of these guys, so that would be lost on me.
Well, I mean, Solid Snake, Psycho Mantis, all those characters. There's versions of them as well, yeah. And it's cool. So you save them, and then they kind of appear in your home base, and they're kind of doing their own thing. But throughout the game, you can unlock bonus little items, and certain items are for certain robots. So for Snake, I managed to get him a cardboard box. So rather than his robot just standing in the place where it is now in the hub, he's now like hiding under a cardboard box looking out. And Psycho Mantis, his one was a PlayStation.
Are these playable characters, or are they just in the background?
No, they're kind of in the background, but I think you can get some of their costumes to you play as, yeah. But what's really fun is it has just normal platforming levels where you're playing as Astrobot, and they're great crack, and the music is unbelievable. Like it's really uplifting, really, really cool stuff. But at the end of each world, you're introduced to a certain like PlayStation big character. So at the end of the first world, it was Spike from Ape Escape, and in the last level of that world, you just play an Astrobot version of Ape Escape. And then for the second world, it was God of War, and the last level is just
I know him.
Yeah. So you take on Kratos, and then you play like a God of War Ragnarok level. It has like the music, cool. Like the whole music playing, and you run around as an Astrobot with the hammer or with the axe and stuff. And the one I've just done was an Uncharted one. So I met Nathan Drake robot, and he gave me a gun, and I did this cool kind of, over the top, like any Uncharted game is like over the top, things falling down and me running away from boulders and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. All the time with great music, really easy to play, doesn't take a huge amount of brain power. And I'm just like, anytime I finish, I'm like, God, that little hour I played there, what a joy. I had such a great time, because it's the only game still since the Playroom that takes full advantage of the controller, what the controller can do, like the haptics and Oh, like
you love all that shit though. I don't want my R2 button being difficult to press.
That.
I'm just like, oh, it's such a strain.
And he has it because as he runs, the controller vibrates, but it vibrates in different ways depending on the environment that he's in. So when he's running around in like sand or snow, it tends to be like a softer vibration on the controller, but when you're running around on stone and stuff like that, it's a bit of a, so it's this weird kind of like subconscious extra level of immersion that like when you're playing, like, oh yeah, oh that's why I'm kind of like so wrapped up in this. The controller is kind of telling me where I am in another way. I've loved that. But while I was playing that, and this is, I almost didn't get the second game, but this is on Niall's recommendation. He was like, hey man, would you consider playing
Wukong?
No, Space Marines 40K 2.
Okay, didn't expect you to go there.
No, I did not expect myself to go there either. But he was like, would you buy that? And I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I just got Astrobot. I don't know if I'd want to spend any extra money. But I had the PlayStation Stars. Are you logged into that at all?
Don't know what that is.
PlayStation Stars, and I need to tell everybody about this because I got 20 quid from it just to pay for games in my wallet on the PlayStation Store, which is amazing. So PlayStation Stars is the thing you log into, and there's challenges. They don't cost you anything. You just select the challenges that you want to do, and it might be like, play Hogwarts Legacy this weekend, or do this or play that, or unlock X amount of trophies, and it all just gives you points and like digital collectibles. Digital collectibles I could take or leave. I don't care about them, but it's the points you get. So I just went on the other day and I was like, oh, I've got like 5,800 points here. What do they do? 5,000 points gives you 20 quid in your PlayStation Store wallet.
And how do you earn points? Did you say you
just
do achievements in games?
No, it's kind of more sometimes. So unlocking some achievements can give you some points, but like other things were like. Quidditch, that Harry Potter Quidditch game that was free. One of the challenges was like download that game and launch that game. Those are two separate challenges, and I got like 500 points for one and 600 points for the other, and that's all just by downloading. Like you build points by doing a kind of normal play, just like how you play games. Yeah. The only thing you have to do is you have to make sure you go onto it and like select challenges, so that when you do those things, it actually activates points for you. But I was like, fucking hell, 20 quid. So when I realized that, I was like, oh no, maybe I'll get into this because it's a full price game, Craig, it's excellent. It's excellent. I went down to. Is
it a multiplayer only type thing?
It's No, you can do one. It's online multiplayer, but you can do one player. I think if you want, you just have a team of 2 AIs, which is well. But I went down to his the other night, and I had my PlayStation Portal, which I love to bits, and I went down and was able to just play online with him. I was just chilling out in his. He had the TV and stuff on. I was just there with my Portal and headphones. It's a modern day Gears of War. And it's so much fun. I love that. It's so gory. It's so bleak. Like it's a real like grim, dark kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like all these planets are getting invaded. We've only done the first mission. The first mission took us like an hour and a half, an hour 45 minutes. But it's so good and so bloody. Like there's all the cutscenes where you're just with your chainsaw sword thing, just cutting people up. I was like, yeah, this is what I need. 2 games to just like shut my brain off. I don't need a big open world. Hugely collectible thing, and I've had the best time. 2 great buys, and I was surprised by the second one. Now, I recommended it to me, he says, would you play this? And I looked at some reviews, and everyone was like, 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. And I was like...
That seems good.
I mean, I'd be up there, after playing the first mission, I'm like an easy 7 so far, and it could possibly be more. Because we haven't gotten to the point where we can customize our units yet, and I'm really looking forward to, like, us going in as 2 of our, like, whatever.
Is it 2-player only or something?
It's 3-player, I think, online. Okay. Like, each mission is that
Who are you playing with? You and I, who's the other third person?
We don't have a third person. He just gave me a shout, and I was like, absolutely, yeah, count me in. So hey, man, if you're looking for a game and a third person,
maybe.
So they were great. But enough about those games, Craig. We're here to talk about the Maestro, the main game, Smash Brothers. So whole point of this episode is for us to. We were like, well, let's plan the Super Smash Brothers series. And I was like, hey, I'm lazy. Why don't we plan on an episode so I don't have to think of so many episodes? And also, this is a great way, such a great game to plan. This is our 50th standard episode.
Is it? Or are you not counting some stuff just to make that happen?
It's episode 50. So if you look on our thing, the last episode we did that wasn't a review episode, that wasn't a news episode. One of our standard episodes, the last one was 49. So this is our 50th episode. And no better way to celebrate our 50th episode than a Smash Brothers planning session. So
nice way of labeling it.
It's the only way to do it. So I guess, Craig, we were looking at like a couple of episodes, like maybe 4 or 5 that we do over a bit of time, but we wanted to kind of encapsulate the Smash Brothers series. So when I said that to you, what's the first thing that comes to your head to be like, hey, What would you love to be talking about? What are the things that you'd like to hit on?
Well, every time we start a topic, I'm always just like, what does the person listening know what that is, first of all? Or are we obligated to do a brief, like, what is Smash Brothers? Like, do you know when you start the game, it does the how to play?
Yeah.
Like, are we supposed to do that for the audience right now?
I mean, if we're doing a Smash Brothers series, I think it'd be quite... Because we don't really do that for anything. I don't think we've done that really for anything. And we've put...
We just kind of hit the ground running and
yeah,
expect everyone to just catch up, which is bad on airplane.
Yeah, but I mean, like, do we have time or the effort to... But I think Smash Brothers is one that probably deserves that explanation. That explanation.
Because it's such a uniquely different... I mean, other than PlayStation All-Stars and now a few other kind of rip-off games that are all shit.
But up until like I think the All-Stars,
Nickelodeon's All-Stars,
but that was like 2016, 17 that came out. Up until that point, Smash Bros didn't have a competitor really.
No, and PlayStation All-Stars was rubbish.
Yeah, it was really
and
bad.
you had to kill them with a final Smash. That was the only way, and they just doomed themselves right there.
Yeah.
Plus, they didn't even have most of their like Solid Snake and Cloud. They didn't have any of them. Smash Brothers have them, and it's a Nintendo game.
It's like, guys, get your shit together.
Smash Brothers has more PlayStation characters than PlayStation All-Stars. Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think our first episode of the Smash Brothers series at least has to start off with an introductory, like, what is Smash Brothers and why was it so good?
And it's a fighting game. It's just slightly different in that it's more of knock the enemy out of the ring to win. Yeah. But it's if you think of it like a child, and because the original Smash Brothers game was based on toys, even in the opening cutscene, they were just toys that came to life.
Yeah.
And it very much feels just like a backdrop of whatever video game you love, and a bunch of characters just thrown into the foreground, and then a bunch of random weapons thrown into the foreground, and it's just like like this Coliseum deathmatch, type of thing. And that's what the game is, but that has grown so much over the years, and they have backdrops for pretty much every game ever now, If it's famous in any way, you can either make it or it's just in there.
Yeah.
They've like 30 hours of some of the best video game music ever. So that you can just fight to the death with Sonic and Mario while listening to Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid music. Like there's just so many combinations of crazy things that are great for gamers who always thought what if.
Yeah.
Because you can essentially live out any of those fantasies.
And it's funny because it hits me sometimes because we play it regularly. We almost play it at least once a week. We meet up and we have a few fights and ever like that with the lads. And it's one of those things that every couple of weeks or every couple of months I'd sit down and we're about to play a level, and it might be, I'm playing as Sora, you're Joker from Persona, Columns, Dark Samus, whatever it might be, and we're playing, on Midgar with the Genova theme from Final Fantasy VII, and I sit there and I'd be like, this is the timeline I want to be living in. Like this game actually exists, and it really hits you sometimes. But like this is impressive. Yeah. Like what they managed, what Sakurai and the team managed to achieve there was just so phenomenal, so phenomenal.
Just because you could play a new game of Smash Brothers every couple of minutes, and still have a unique game of Smash Brothers that's never been played by any other human beings ever.
Mm-hmm.
You have a combination of up to 8 characters with 100 levels, with thousands of songs, various game modes, different weapons you can put in. You could create any sort of crazy match you wanted and put it to the test, and nobody in the history of the world has ever done that. You know, and that's just fucking incredible,
And was it only in Ultimate that they introduced the map maker, or was the map maker?
No, they've had that since the
3DS.
No, they had it in Brawl as well. I think they first introduced it in that, but it was really shit.
Because there was some people have created, I remember, before Sora was ever in Smash, and I was looking at levels, people had created Hollow Bastion, their own versions and stuff like that, and I was like, damn, even though it's not in it, it's in it in that kind of sense, but you don't get the music or anything like that.
Well, the Wii U, you could definitely make map, but you couldn't share them online and stuff like that the way you can with this. They made it so much better.
Yeah.
And you can use any backdrop of the levels to really go with it. But what makes Smash Bros. Just so good is that it's not just let's get a character in the game. The characters are fully animated, beautifully designed. Their movesets really represent what they could do in their original games. It's somehow relevant in the Smash Brothers game itself. And even Solid Snake, who you'd imagine being quite a serious character, but because Smash Brothers is kind of goofy, they give him the cardboard box and really play up to that as though that's his main kind of character trait in this.
Yeah.
So he's a goofy kind of character now. Even Sephiroth, with his wing, he's not nearly as scary or as menacing in this.
And they all they've designed all the characters as well in such a way that it all fits. No one, the most impressive thing that they did, I think, in terms of character wise, was introducing, I think, Steve in terms of like the Minecraft style. But even that, you have Steve in a match with everyone else. It all still fits. Whatever way they've done it, it all still fits. And he's the most, I think, outlandish looking of the characters in the sense of this.
I think all the human characters are the outlandish ones, like the Fire Emblem characters.
You reckon? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're the ones to me don't belong. But like a Steve, a Pikachu, a Banjo, like they're all just kind of wacky and cartoony. They kind of fit the mold of just chaos.
Yeah.
But the human characters, like I wouldn't want Drake or Aloy, maybe Aloy because she's a bit more cartoony. But like a character like Drake or even like the Master Chief, people are always like we need to get those guys in. I'm like, they don't fit the mold, you know.
Because everyone was talking about the was it Bloodborne or the Souls guy, whatever it was, the dude who sits by the campfire. And I was like, he's probably a bit too dark. Like that whole medieval grimdark thing is probably not what you want in a Smash.
But I mean,
game.
I say that, but so long as they're redesigned to suit Smash, it's fine. Like you know, just give them that extra shell of color. Because one of the biggest complaints with Battle Royale or All Stars on the PlayStation was a lot of the time you couldn't tell who you were because the colors weren't varied enough. Like they just looked too much like their human counterparts in their video games, so they all look kind of generic and the same. Like there wasn't enough color variation. But with Smash, they really amplify that and they give them a kind of glow, a sheen. Like you can really see. Like I mean, you'll always 8-player Smash, you're going to lose track of yourself a few times, but generally you can spot yourself out.
And it's interesting that like because in the team battles that you do in Smash Brothers, you tend to get a red or a blue, depending on your color of your team, a slight glow around the edge of your character.
Your character's outline.
But that's the only time the game kind of gives you the, I suppose, the help to say, oh, here's it's easier to see yourself like this, you know, on a team battle. Otherwise, no, you don't get any sort of thing. But I remember watching recently when they redid Brawl, like the All-Stars Brawl, Nickelodeon's Brawl, they like re-released that and they'd updated it. Yeah. But all the characters, if you're playing player 1 to 4, whatever else, they all have like either a red outline, blue outline, green outline. And I was like, wow, whatever they've done in the artwork of Smash Brothers, it's so crisp and so clear that even in Through the Mayhem, most of the time, not all the time, because it can be so manic, it's so well done that I'm like, oh, I'm there. That's my character, cleaning my character. And I watch videos of like, you know, the Nickelodeon All-Stars or Brawl, whatever it is, and it's all the characters with the hue around them. I'm like, oh, and even then I'm like, I'm struggling to, it just doesn't seem as clean as Smash Bros.
But even like you're watching the Nickelodeon game and I'm watching a character jump and their body isn't changing as they're doing their jump. Like it's just, they're going higher, but like the character isn't responding to the fact that he's jumped, you know? They're just going up further into the air. It's the same with that Brawlhalla game. You could actually jump like 3 or 4 times in the air, but your character just moves his knees and he goes up. Whereas in Smash Bros, every single character will twist and turn and
like
tumble
the Mario jump
flips.
is the coolest.
Like, they're
thing.
fully animated for the entirety of the jump, like, and it's all new. It's not just the character going further into the air. You know, with any sort
like
of change.
So one of my favorite things to do sometimes is to play as Luigi and just to do a backflip. You know, the Mario Brothers backflip just looks so good. It looks so good. Like
a lot of the characters in their movements look amazing. Like I don't give a shit about Lucas at all, but if you ever just see Lucas after he hits himself with that lightning, he like has his arms tucked in like this, doing like with his fingers poking as though he's in some sort of like temporal like vortex type shit. Like it looks amazing if you just like look at his face during the animation. I'm like, wow.
So if we were to do, let's say, a Smash Brothers series, right, and you're looking at episodes 2, of course our first episode would be an introductory thing. Would you want to go through it? So like I have some ideas here myself in terms of what I would put into the episode. Let me just bring up my phone thing. So one of the things I was going to put in to say, not exactly like a big deal kind of thing, but rate the games, like to go through the collection almost.
Because there's 6 games. That was going to be my first point. Like there's 6 Smash Brothers games. Which are the bigger influences and stuff?
Yeah,
like, you know?
That'd be a great chat to get into because in terms of like, I remember the Wii U 3DS were the 2 that were brought out side by side, right?
Yeah, well, within like 6 months of each other.
So I think Melee, that one, and Ultimate are the ones I've spent the most time with.
I agree.
I've played all of them, but it's interesting that like Brawl, which I know has a lot of hate because there's like a random slip and stuff like that the characters have. And, like that one I haven't played much, but I'd love to, you know, if you know, like chat to you about what we have played.
That one was probably the
most
like ambitious of the lot, like, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So I think for our first episode, we could like go through like what is Smash Brothers and go through the collection and kind of say the importance each one had, maybe rate episodes, things like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, this is the planet episode. We need a decision. So yeah, I kind of had to rate the episodes, and I kind of go through what else I had.
But
here.
Another thing, I mean, maybe it might be the second episode, but like when I used to play the game, I'd always see these tier lists by like Zero and MKLeo and all these guys
of the characters
of the characters and how good they are. But that's only for one-on-one competitive play. And they would rate, like if you look at any tier list, the very, very bottom, you'll see Little Mac and Ganondorf. The very bottom.
Yeah.
I would argue both of those are in the top 10 if you were just playing like 3 to 8 player Smash. You know, like if you're playing Coliseum or the boxing ring where suddenly you can't fall off the level, Little Mac is a god, you know, because he can't fall. His weaknesses are all gone, you know, so instantly he shoots up the ladder. You know,
and it is, and as you said, like I think before we kind of got on to recording the episode, you were talking about one of the things that you would want to touch upon is the fandom and how you don't really appreciate or like the fandom.
Well, yeah, I hate that. Yeah, because they've like it's similar with Final Fantasy. What you know, the Tifa heads out there get fucking all this sympathy, and then the creators are doing things to the game just to suit them. The same thing is happening with this game, like you know, and I hate seeing it. Like, why did we get Ridley? Was Ridley ever a character that Sakurai wanted in this video game? Not a chance. He said for years, I don't want Ridley in the game because he's too big and he doesn't make any sense.
And was Ridley a hugely popular one?
Oh, he
by
was
the fans?
He was the first introduced character into Ultimate. He was the first character we saw because the fans went nuts. But I would argue, of all those people who went nuts, do any of them play Ridley? I bet none of them
play
do.
Ridley, yeah.
Because they're all just like, oh, I want this. But then when it comes to actually thinking, would that character play well?
Yeah.
No, of course he wouldn't. Ridley is a really bad character because he just doesn't suit the game at all. Like, yeah, he has a couple of like interesting stabby attacks, but otherwise he's ridiculous and he's way too big, and that's on the fans, and they fucked up there, like, you know. And the same fans now want the Waluigi, and I'm saying that will not work. One, he has no identity beyond. Yeah, beyond he doesn't have any solo thing, you know? So all he could do is just have a moveset based on
the sports games.
But Peach and Daisy already have that. She uses her tennis racket and her golf club. So what are you going to do the same to him? Like, that's ridiculous.
You'd have to kind of, if you were to put someone like him in the game, you'd have to invent Waluigi.
So I've already thought about it in depth, and I'm going to tell you how they would do it. In the next game, they would have to redesign Peach. And
wait, hang on. This is the kind of shit we should be saving when we're talking about characters. For an episode.
Sorry, I just can't get held with the momentum. Like, here's how you do bring in Waluigi, even though I would never do it. You know. Because he's a shit character. He only exists because Wario needed a tennis partner.
And in terms of he'd only exist, or people only really want him in Smash Bros. Like it's just a meme at this stage, as opposed to like.
I know, but people get too animated. Like, I'm sure Sakurai has gotten death threats because Waluigi isn't in his fucking game. The same way the Ridley fanboys were all in his face about Ridley, and Ridley is just shit. You know, he's one of the worst characters. You know, and he never made sense to be in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So I've got a lot of aggression at the fandom in general, like, you know, because I consider myself very much a casual Smash Brothers fan, and I believe Sakurai made this game for me, for people like me, for people like you, and not these fucking
the competitive players
who are like, oh, this character's useless, you can't use him in one-on-one, but the game isn't designed to be played that way.
It's designed to be, I think, because we have so much fun, and like I caught up with Kev in New Zealand the other day, and we were chatting about our crew and how I would say what phrase did he use? We're competitive. We are very, very competitive with each other, but in a very wholesome way, in that there's never bad blood. Like we'll win or lose. We'll win or lose fights or whatever else. We'll always, like, you know, clap the person in the back saying great fight, whatever else, and we're all having a great time. And like some games I want to win, and I get wrecked. But I'm so glad we're in that mindset when it comes to a game like Super Smash Brothers. And I've seen like one of the worst. When you see like the competitive games, fighting games and stuff like that, like I've watched Tekken or Street Fighter and stuff like that. Smash Brothers has serious amounts of anger. To be honest though,
if I was playing a fighting game and like I hit into the air and then someone just comboed me to death before I hit the ground, I would lose my shit.
You'd be like,
I'm not playing this game. That's crap, and whoever made it is an asshole. Yeah. You know, but you can't do that in Smash Brothers. No. Like, you know, and the only 0 to death combos will work on like certain Donkey Kong or whatever at 0%, only if you're very, very lucky. Like, the game is designed that moves will not always work because of the percentage system. Because if you're on a higher percent, moves hit you further away. So it's harder to learn the move set to be perfect at the game. Yeah. And I love that because it really takes that competitive nonsense out of it. Yeah. So you can't just go, if I use up A, down A, forward A, it'll always hit 3 times. Yeah. In Smash Brothers, it doesn't work like that because depending on your percent, you could be in any one of loads of different places on the map.
But I'm so glad that we are in that right competitive zone for Smash Bros. I don't think we'd still be playing it as much if we were like shit with each other about playing Smash Brothers. Like, you know?
Though I have just on that note, I ordered a while ago a trophy should we ever actually play Smash Brothers competitively, and it arrived today, and I brought it with me if you want to take a look.
If you have it there, I'll take a look. Absolutely, yeah. So do you mean like?
I just thought it'd be absolutely perfect.
See, no, but I think even in that, it's kind of like we played the Switch Golf there recently, and that was competitive, but we all had a great time. Like no one was like pissy about losing or anything like that. We were all just like, God, that was not great fun. Congratulations, Craig. You know?
yeah. Of course. Like, you know, I mean, it's good to always be in that mindset. But sorry, take a look. You mentioned there's no ever bad blood when we play Smash Bros. But I'm like, well, this trophy was.
Why is it going to be the thing that all of us want? Oh my God. Is that Mario giving the finger?
It's Mario giving the finger.
Where did you get that?
I think I got off Etsy. Someone just 3D printed it. So it's really light and flimsy.
So for those who...
It's awesome.
This is obviously an audio podcast, so you can't see this, but it's Mario standing beside a number 1, and underneath the trophy in the bottom it says winner, but Mario's standing there giving the fingers to, I guess, those who didn't win.
It has probably cheated. So it's probably meant for like a Mario Kart thing, because you know the way...
Or a Mario Party when like the star stuff is bullshit at
we're
the end.
using that for Smash.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
That's so good. All right, so we have our kind of like, you know, we'll do an introduction into Smash Brothers and kind of rate, like go through the games and kind of rate them as their importance, let's say, and thing. What do you think is a natural step then for a second episode of like a Smash Brothers series? Like going through some of the things I have, like one of the things I wanted to talk about was kind of like
the various modes you can play.
Exactly,
you know?
like the best modes. Like
nobody ever talks about the Subspace Emissary or any of that like solo spirit stuff, even though it's all in there. And even in Melee, which got it started, there was the adventure mode, which was really, really cool. I mean, you were essentially doing a Mario level at the start, beating up Goombas and Koopas and stuff. Like it was a side-scrolling Mario
and
level.
each one had their own.
Enemies.
Like there was the beat the timer or the targets and stuff like that. Those little mini modes.
Break the targets and like land on the platforms. Like it's unfortunate that those didn't come back because it would take a long time to make. But because of the level creator, you could essentially make your own break.
It'd be like a Mario Maker within Smash Bros.
Exactly,
people could just make their own break the targets. Yeah, so game modes like that I think would be worth talking about in another
and even
episode.
like anyone who plays it competitively, they only play one-on-one. They probably have never played items in their whole lives, like you know? Yeah. Whereas I like to mix and match. Like I play items like way more, but our group are kind of like
I love items, but see the thing about it is I love items for the chaos of it all. But I understand, especially when we have the likes of like maybe kind of Colin or Niall who are a little bit that more like they love that competitive edge in it and don't like having like just being spoofed, because that's the problem is when you introduce items into a game of Smash Brothers, you can get spoofed really easy. Like,
you can, yeah. Plus I know all the items so well that like if Niall was just like, oh, what's this, and he used the laser, the blast, I just reflect that shit right back at him, and I know he would immediately freak out. You know.
Yeah. So
but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna kill him anyway. So
I'm gonna win. So we got game modes, break the targets, items, kind of things like that. I think the characters should be an episode entirely into themselves.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of the main things I was even thinking about, what character is more famous from Smash Brothers than their own video games?
Yeah, that'd be a great little side note.
There's a fair
actually.
few.
Yeah,
like, you know?
yeah. More famous from Smash. I like that. So in episode 3, I think we could, do we do like an episode 3 where we delve into the characters of Smash Brothers? And if there's loads we could do there, like the characters thing could almost be a fucking two-parter in a sense, whereby, you know, one of the things I'd like to talk about is the big kind of culture thing that came with who's the next Smash character, because it didn't start like that. We just got characters and I was like, holy shit, like it's...
Well, I know people have been like... Because, you know, people are jumping on the bandwagon towards the end when, like, Sephiroth and Minecraft are getting revealed. But, like, Sonic the Hedgehog and Solid Snake both got trailers for Brawl back in 2008.
But they got trailers, but they were more so, like, it was in-game, wasn't it? They weren't, like, trailers. They were trailers. Oh, were
no,
they?
They weren't, like, the massive fucking...
CG things
that
they're
but,
doing.
like, with Snake's one, he was having a codec conversation with the Colonel.
Yeah.
And, like, that was at E3 or whatever, and everyone would, like, thought it was a Solid Snake game. And then he just comes out of the box and all the Smash Brothers characters are there, and you're like, that is absolutely incredible.
That's such a
crazy
good idea,
incredible.
Yeah.
Like.
And, like, another thing as well, in terms of how wild it is with the character thing, I can't remember... which trailer it's in. Is it? Oh, it's in the Minecraft when Steve was announced and they went into Enderman. Like they were like the other with the different character skins. Enderman is like looking in the box at Snake.
At Snake.
And I was thinking to myself, what? Like that's only about the timeline that we're living in. I'm like, my God, it's like Minecraft and Solid. You know, I met like a Solid crossover in the strangest ways, because you can't look at Enderman in the eye. Is the whole thing. That's the whole thing for Minecraft. If you do, they get real powerful and scary, and Snake hides in boxes. And they managed to combine these two things with the Enderman looking in through, like, you don't want to see that, like, you know. I was like, they thought of everything.
It's a lot of care and love.
Yeah.
Like even in each reveal, I mean, I don't know much about Minecraft, but just from Sephiroth's trailer, you can see him doing his downward stab, and like he misses Zelda, who is a stand-in for Aerith.
Yeah.
Like there's so much. Like even Cloud's trailer, he beats up Wario, steals his bike, and runs away with the bike because they're trying to have a nod to the Cloud loves. Like there's so many little moments.
Do you think
that come really quickly and are gone?
Here's a big brain thing for you. Do you think that Sakurai was told by Nomura of what was going to happen in the Final Fantasy Trilogy remake, and Sephiroth missing Zelda in that announcement trailer was actually a nod to the fact that she's going to live in the trilogy? Do you think
no? And in fact, I even the
I'm not being serious, by the way.
But the people who made Final Fantasy remake had no clue Sephiroth was going to be in Smash. But they had no involvement in that whatsoever. Like,
so they just knew there was a surprise.
Obviously, they don't own the rights, so whoever had the rights signed off on that, and they were like, "Oh, shocked." But it is great that like Sephiroth followed Cloud into Smash. It suits the whole.
He follows
vibe.
him everywhere. I love that. Like Kingdom Hearts,
he's just a part of him, so you can't have one without the other.
Yeah. And
I love that.
That was such an amazing trailer for Sephiroth as well. So good. The music.
Fuck a trailer recap or the best trailers from the game.
So I think the characters thing could almost be, for me, would almost be a two-part, because there's a couple of things I want to talk about when it comes to characters in Smash. And so one of the things is that I want to get, like, you know, whoever we get on the episode, I'd love to get, like, definitely get Colin in for sure, big Smash Bros. Player, but like to kind of give if people had like a top 5, but within those top 5 are characters that you just love to see in the game. Is there anything that you would have done differently with them? Like I look at Sora, for example. I think Sora is perfect. Like in terms of the moveset, everything about Sora is like they've captured Kingdom Hearts 1 in a nutshell in that character. Yeah. But I look at Luigi sometimes and I'm like, there's things I'd probably change about Luigi.
Well, Luigi is a character that they have changed a little every single game, and like with each game, he's becoming more of his own character, because he still is. And like Sakurai even says this, he's the original Echo character.
Essentially, he's so just a clone.
There's in his mindset, I'm sure he always wants him to be Green Mario. You know. Yeah. But he isn't really, like, his moveset has been drastically changed.
And it's so different now.
Pretty much the fireball, maybe a tornado, but most of his moves now are unique to him.
Yeah.
And like Luigi has really made a name for himself in the Luigi's Mansion games. Yeah. So you'd have to say, if ever they were going to redesign his character, it should be
based off Luigi's Mansion,
which means he's going to be a really slow character and kind of Ghostbuster-like. You know?
And I mean, some of the movesets have touched upon that, but I'd want more. But that'd be a cool thing to do, because you talk about the characters in that, the ones that we love, the ones that we think that they nailed. Is there any that we think maybe that they didn't really nail?
Plus, the characters have changed so much themselves over the 10 years. Like when the first Smash Bros. Game came out, Luigi was only ever used in that capacity. Like he was just two-player Mario.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was perfect for what it was then. They had the exact same.
Because even his smash attack is the fist thing that Mario still uses. But
in the original Smash Bros. They were identical. Other than the green fireball.
Exactly. So we could talk about, like, I think nothing about how characters have developed and stuff like that. And one of the things as well I wanted to see was if we had a selection of characters that we really, really loved. The skins, I'd love to see what we think for certain characters we think is missing for skins. Like there's a certain kind of character skins that, oh man, I wish, because I was spoiled, but again, Sora, because Sora just touches upon skins from his entire collection of Kingdom Hearts video games,
he's got the most of any character,
which is outrageous. But I'd love to take that and give other characters that treatment, to say, what would you have done for Mario, or Joker? I mean, there's great costumes for Joker, or other Persona costumes that Joker could have had from the older Personas. Things like that would be a cool thing to be like.
For sure,
skins possibly for characters as well. So how did that?
Look at all these
skins. So the character thing I think is going to be a 2-part, and it depends where you want to put it in the series as well. Because the character thing I think is going to be probably one of the more exciting parts.
If we touch on characters we would want included, then like that's a whole episode. Even outside the future of Smash, I think that's a separate episode. Like characters we would include, but the future of the series, like that's two different things.
I think the characters needs to be a 2-part episode, and we'll touch upon all these little bits. But like we'd have a whole section almost on who we'd want to see in Smash Brothers and why, or are they eligible. So I think we've got like a episode.
I think I'd struggle with that big time, because everyone I want to be in Smash is in Smash.
I think I can't think. There's a couple of characters I'd love to see. Like you touched upon Aloy earlier on, and I was looking at a lot of characters, and I'm like, oh, I don't fit. Aloy's a character who I could see would be, and she'd be a trapper. Do you know what I mean? I think they'd use the trapper version of Aloy, who had all like the ropes and
she'd
the
have to use the rope and the traps. But
yeah.
even then, I'm just like, would it be unique enough, or would she just be a pit kind of clone type thing?
No, I think well, again, we can talk about it more when we come to this episode, but I think it'd be.
I do like her glider tech, stuff like that would bring her into the Smash world a bit more, rather than just like a generic human, you know? Yeah. Because once she's got all that like electric kind of
the high techy stuff,
tech stuff
and like
going on,
the Smash would absolutely be like her calling in the robot dinosaurs to finish the people off because she has control over them. Do you know what I mean?
You think she would summon the dinosaurs?
Yeah, to wreck the other guys. Yeah, because she got the
That'll be
dinosaurs
her
on her.
final smash,
Yeah, that'll
what?
be her final smash.
But usually she rides them, right?
Yeah, but she'll call in like the raptor and the little almost like the mule one and the T-Rex one, and they'll all charge the people because she's.
I guess maybe, yeah. They'll
that'd
just
be
try
the
and
final
include them all in one.
Yeah,
like,
one big.
So there'll
like,
be 8 dinosaurs
well,
that attack at once.
Is it Shulker? Which character has that? Where all the characters from that series appear in their final smash?
Well, Shulk has one, where 3 of the characters from his game appear. But who is it? The hero. From every hero character from every.
Yeah, that's a great one as well. Something like that would be good. Okay, so characters. So there's like. I think I kind of can see this kind of forming, but I think for a 4th episode, I'd love to talk about the levels, the level design, and music. Like,
oh yeah, and how they got some of those tunes and stuff.
And how were we so lucky with what we were, especially you and me. Like, I mean, and I'm sure, and that's the thing as well. You and me, like, oh, we're so lucky with like we got like the Final Fantasy, or me, like Kingdom Hearts music, whatever. But for people who aren't into the characters that we're into, like Smash has covered so much ground. Like there's people out there who must fucking go mad for Xenoblade Chronicles, but like that's my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
And they've got all those
some
tracks,
of the absolute bangers from that whole series, like from
Fire Emblem fans is all covered. You know, Mario, fucking Bayonetta. If you've got Bayonetta fans out there, some great tunes from Bayonetta things. So like, I think you could almost do a whole thing about like levels, or like from like I love Hollow Bastion, let's say, for Kingdom Hearts, but there's parts of that I might have done differently, or
the stage.
And I think that could be a good thing for some of our favorite characters. But like, I love this level, but I think it should have been this from that game. Should have been.
Man, that's so nitpicky. But yeah,
but I mean, like, hey, listen, if we're talking about like the series, I mean, I'm saying that as a celebration of, because we're blessed with the amount of levels that you have in that game and the music, and it'd be great to do an episode to kind of celebrate that. But it's a little like maybe a little fun bit at the end to be like, I know I got this, but I would have loved this, you know, that kind of way, like, you know. Do you have anything else on your list before we kind of go to?
Okay. The future of Smash characters I would include. What I hate about the fandom.
The future.
I kind of went on my little rant about that. Like,
that's a good one for the final episode. I think the future of Smash would be a good place to include if you have your beef that you want to take up with the fandom. Yeah. If you haven't already, got it exercised here, we could throw it into the final one for sure. Like, you know.
And aside from like characters that are more famous in Smash than aren't, but like some of our favorite characters to play outside of their own video games, like outside of Sora for his game and Cloud for his game, but characters we like in Smash because of Smash, or just because of how they
Ice
play.
Climbers. Do you know what I mean? For me, I fucking I mean, now Duck Hunt 2, I loved that game as a kid playing it, but like
it was the first video game I ever played.
Yeah,
but I don't feel an attachment to that character.
No, I wouldn't say I feel an attachment to a character, but I do now because of Smash Brothers. Like the fact that I've been able to play this version of the dog and that duck that are in that game, I'm like, okay, this is a total different like thing. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one. I'll throw into like the.
Man, I could talk about the Duck Hunt dog for about 5 minutes now, but just even the way like his attacks, the actual gun is being fired, like just so clever, like
all of it.
Hell, like.
And that's what I mean. And I suppose for a Nintendo character, it's a bit easier in terms of a licensing perspective. But the amount of things that are in that game that you're like, fucking, there's so many different fucking properties in this game that are all in there together, you know?
I mean, we think like Marvel did a great job just getting all the Avengers together, but I mean, they own all of that.
Yeah.
Nintendo don't own any of the things.
I mean, I know they had trouble getting some of the Fox properties and stuff like that, and they would have wanted them sooner, but when you think about it, like, and that's the kind of thing I definitely want to talk about when we do like the future of Smash in our last episode, you know. It's such a celebration of games that I really want to go into like that aspect of it as well, being like, I don't think I've played a game that has celebrated video game in a way like Smash Bros.
But generally speaking, like even Sylvester Stallone ran into this problem when he was trying to do the Expendables, and like Bruce Willis is like, I'm not fucking being in your movie, and like you just make all the money. So he was like, well then I'm charging you $1 million, you know, blah blah blah. So it became very much like, hey, you can't just take our thing and make lots of money with it. But Smash Brothers isn't like that at all. It's now a badge of honor for a character to be in Smash Brothers because the games are so incredibly good and they have so much like nostalgia and so much respect for the characters that like it really is like an award for your character to make it in. I wouldn't be surprised in the future if characters appear in their own video game series with a Smash Brothers tattoo on their arm, like, you know,
just to be like, hey, if you're watching this, we'd love to be in your
we
game.
made it, we did it, you know?
But that's the thing as well, because it, like, and that's what I'd love to when we talk about the character, when we go into our character episode, that thing of like the following of like who's going to be the next character, and I remember getting up to watch those. Like there was the Sephiroth one, which was at the Games Award, which was on really late at night. I remember being in bed watching that, being like, oh fuck yeah, we got Sephiroth. Or the Sora one, which was and I think I'll go into the full story of the Sora reveal, which was such a big moment for me.
You have your little own episode, just talk for 4 minutes about that.
About the Sora thing. But even that, to be like, and like, I mean, that was like 3 years ago, almost this October, something like that Sora was announced in Smash. So I was like 29, 30 or whatever, 30-year-old man. And I remember sitting down, because it was at 3 o'clock or something like that, the director was on and he was announced, and I remember sitting there being like, wow, I'm 30 years old and this is hitting me like right in the feels in a big way. Like,
plus you got your ultimate wish as well.
Like,
which
and a character couldn't have been, and because that's the thing as well, you've got some characters who would have come into the game, like all those people who would have wanted Ridley, and Ridley just doesn't fit. It's not a great character to play as. Some of their characters aren't a whole lot of fun to play as, in my opinion.
If you're listening and you wanted Ridley, I hate you. You took a spot from a worthy character.
Yeah, man, that's the thing as well. And that'd be a fun thing to do if you could swap out two characters, which character would you take out and what would you replace them with? Like,
there'd be
a couple of those as well.
Some characters I'd immediately get rid of. But generally, even Ridley to a certain extent, I mean, there's no character I get and I'm just like, oh, I hate playing as this character. Yeah. With the exception of Olimar, because I don't really get it,
No. And after all these years, I've tried playing as
one of the better characters.
Supposedly, because I see them in the tier list and I'm like, who the fuck is playing as Olimar in these competitive rounds? Because I've never gotten him, and it's funny that we've had, and he's been in it for a long time. Like, when was Olimar put into it? Like
Brawl, like, oh no, I think he was the Wii U version, because in his reveal trailer, no, it was Brawl, because in his reveal trailer it's him and Captain Falcon fighting in the subspace emissary, and Falcon kills a lot of Pikmin in the trailer, which is classic Sakurai. But it was very dark to see that at the time.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that I love, that he's been in for so long, and we're like, I don't hate him, but I don't, and it's the playability. Like, I love that about, let's say, you or me, when we play Smash Brothers, we have like quite a big
Well, I could
roster.
Pick any of them, you know? But it's only when things get serious I'll really go into my top 20.
Yeah. to pick from everything. But it is so much fun to go around and be like, oh, I like this person or that person, and like, it's sometimes because I'm so hyper focused on it. Because when we play and we get a bit competitive, I'm like, oh, there's my Sora, there's my Roy, there's my Luigi, and I know exactly where they are on the board. But sometimes when you take a seat back and you're like, who do I play as now? And I look across all these characters and I'm like, I could play as fucking Banjo-Kazooie. I could play as King K. Rool.
Just to have fun with that. And then you're like, wow, that was great. Now I'm going to pick this character, add them to my like. But because when I'm playing Smash Bros, I never get bored, because I never play the same character twice ever, unless Niall wants to run it back, and then I'm forced to. But I would never do that, So if we play like 20 games, I'll pick probably my top 20 characters. But then I'm always like, damn it, I didn't get a chance to pick Falco or Wario or just people who are just outside my top 20. So next time we play, I have to like push it back a little further, or we just have to play 50 games per night.
That's it. I'm going to get
for
you
me to feel
earlier.
Satisfied.
Yeah. So I think here's our plan. I think this has been a successful episode, Craig. This planning episode, it saves me having to do it by myself, So what we have is our first episode would be, I think we can kind of go into the history of Smash Brothers and talk about the 6 kind of games in the series, kind of rate them in terms of their importance and maybe whatever else. Our second game would be talking about the game modes that were involved in each of them. So like the Spirit Board or Adventure Mode.
Would we not be in a way talking about that when we're breaking down
the games?
Part 1, because what's going to separate these games is those game modes.
That's a good point. So I'll leave that could be a episode 1 extended, or might have to break that into 2 parts. We'll see. But
it's just because we're inevitably going to be
that's going to be part
both
of
episodes.
The
we're going to be talking about both things.
Yeah, absolutely. So then I have that was kind of episode 2. But episode 3, which would be a 2-parter for sure, is the characters.
Okay.
Like, and with that, we've got like the how they were developed, like the skins, if you'd swap out characters, who we wished was in it, talk about the reveal trailers, characters being more famous, being smashed.
And I don't want us to do a full tier list, but I mean, like,
some of our who we think are the best.
Our favorites.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I'd be able to do it because I play as everyone. But like if Niall was like, "Oh, this is the best character," like, you don't know shit. Like,
you haven't touched upon anybody.
You've played Violet like 1,000 times.
So that'd be a good thing. There's 2 episodes in that for sure. Anyway, then I've got kind of talking about the levels that we were gifted with, the music, and that kind of how that's a big part of the celebration of the game as well for an episode. I think there's like loads there, to be honest, for an episode. And then finally, the future of Smash fandom.
And there could be your
characters.
2 if number 1 and 2 get pushed into 1, you can have the future Smash be 2, like,
Yeah,
just because man, I could talk about the future of the series forever. Well, for me, I would definitely just Ultimate is the Smash Brothers now, and I would just add stuff to it. To start all over again, I'm like, well, now you'll never make a game as good. Like,
that's the thing as well. It's one of those things where, by part of me wonders at some point, will they bite the bullet and say we're just going to return to adding more characters to Ultimate, or will they revamp the entire series? You know, that'd be the big question I'd have, because to me it's like, you think of Mario Kart 8 at the minute, like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And ultimate, like, because you're never the licensing issue, you're never going to be able to fucking do that again. You're never going to get that. No. You're never going to get that roster. So do you want to just keep adding to it?
So you should cheat and just like pretend it's the same game on the next console.
But when they do the Switch 2, or as Luke has dubbed it, the Super Nintendo Switch, I think is what he reckons is what it's going to be called. Nintendo Switch, it would be the Super Nintendo Switch, which I think is a very clever name.
The Super Nintendo Switch. Is it called the Nintendo Switch?
It's called the Nintendo Switch. Yeah.
But people never call it that.
No, they call it the Switch.
So people will be calling it the Super Switch.
Yeah. Which I think, as
Super Switch.
Yes. I mean,
I don't know.
I like it, man. I like it because it
could grow on me. Maybe.
It follows the pattern of the Nintendo and then the Super Nintendo. We have the Switch and then the Super.
I know, but we can't have a Switch 64. That'd be ridiculous. Like,
who knows? That's where they go. But that'd be a great thing to do. Is like the Switch 2 launch has like the ultimate port, but with 2 new releases of characters or some shit like that in it. Like, you know what I mean? That'd be fucking
the villain pack.
Yeah.
And put Waluigi in there.
Ugh.
But also Venom Snake, and instead of his like Nikita missile, he fires his arm like in the there's the Echo. You know?
Snake's Echo. But shit like that'd be great. Like, I mean, if they ever do it, because we don't know. I mean, do you think Smash Bros is coming back?
No. I don't think they'd legally be allowed, because essentially they cheated with Wii U to Ultimate. I'm sure they were like, oh, it's the same game. It's only like, because they got Ryu, they got Cloud, they got all this stuff, like, and I'm sure they didn't have to pay for all that.
And even then, like, when it was,
maybe they did, but they kind of cheated in a way because it's essentially the same game, but like ultra. You know?
I think they probably wouldn't have had to. I wouldn't say they cheated. I'd say it was a thing whereby they couldn't, because if those certain characters didn't change at all in terms of move sets from one to the other.
they used all like pre-existing assets.
Yes, so they weren't allowed to kind of tamper with what was there, because that was what was previously agreed upon and stuff like that.
When they're setting out to make the next Smash Brothers, I would go to all these companies and say, hey, are you okay with us
put them back in?
Because I would say 90% of them would go, yes, Smash is great for a character.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew who the fuck Marth was before.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Smash Brothers.
Like if I was in charge of, now granted, I wouldn't be if I had my own video game. Let's say if I created a video game and my character was chosen to be in Smash, I'd be like, please, that's fucking free publicity. Go for it. Yeah. But again, like, I'm talking about me as if I was an indie game company, as opposed to fucking Square Enix, who, you know, maybe don't need the publicity, or Capcom, who maybe don't need the publicity. They'd be like, no, we're going to...
But you're going to get a great trailer.
No, you're going to get a fucking great trailer. Like, you know?
Maybe not this time, but because your character's already been included. So it's like, we want another great trailer. So maybe.
But like the fucking Mega Man trailer, do you remember that one?
Brilliant.
Yeah. And like that's
but
the
not
well.
They did not like Mega Man got a CG trailer, like, you know. Not all of them did.
No, but he got, and that's the thing as well. That's what I laugh about when I think about Mega Man, is that I have never really fucking played a Mega Man game in my life. Yeah. But when I think of Mega Man, I only associate him with Smash Bros. So this is what we're going to get onto with the whole like more famous for being in Smash. I don't associate Mega Man with Mega Man games.
Okay, but that is like a lot of people would get annoyed at you just for saying that. Like Mega Man is extremely popular.
I know, but he was never in. And Daniel will get annoyed at me for this saying this as well. Yeah. But he was never within my. That was never my family. Do you know what I mean? We were like Mario, that kind of stuff.
I've played some of these Mega Man All-Stars stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's bad Mario, you know? It's just Mario, but nowhere near as good, like, you know? Like Dr. Wily, all this stupid shit. Like, no, we don't need that, you know? Like, his power-ups are stupid, like, you know? Yeah. And the platforming, jumping, it's... never mind. I'm not going to diss
We'll get into that when we get into the characters.
But as someone who grew up playing Mario, that is second best. For sure.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, which is why I don't think he was in my repertoire of games that I went through. But I think, Craig, that's us covered. I think that's the episode.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're good on time.
We're getting going, yeah.
I mean, unless there's anything else you want to add in.
Well, no, because if it's the plan out, because I was just going to like jump into part one. Like,
I mean, no.
If you hadn't said anything.
Let's save that for episode 1, like, you know, that we'll actually do. But I think that's us good. So we're going to do, you know, if you've enjoyed this episode and you're hyped about Smash Brothers, don't worry. We got like at least a 4-parter, maybe a 5-parter coming your way. And we'll release it kind of every other week, maybe, or something like that. We'll get the guys in and we're going to do a big breakdown of Smash Brothers.
Every 50.
Every 50 episodes.
Or every 25.
Episode 100 will be our first
we'll
episode.
See in 2 years, like, people are like, what the fuck is this?
Where's part 3? So we're going to break it down. So if you're a big fan of Smash, or you're not really sure what Smash is, but you're listening to this being like, hey, is that a game I could get into? This series will break down exactly whether or not this is a game you want to get into.
If you have a friend you can play games with, then Smash Brothers is for you. Yeah. Because you're bound to like one of the characters. You're bound to, if you play video games, you're bound to have played Mario or Zelda or Minecraft or Final Fantasy, something, Street Fighter. Your character's in there. You just got to find them. And don't worry, he's in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like this thing as well. If it does continue, we could see more. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. More recent, more newer characters as well that are out there in the realm. Your Aloys, your Kratos. I'm speaking from the Xbox side or from the PlayStation side of things. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, there's so much there. But yeah, I think that's kind of it, Craig. We'll go back. We'll plan these episodes. We'll break them down. We'll get them out there sooner rather than later. So if you've enjoyed this, tell your friends. If you're looking for more content, there's tons more. You can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/The Gift of Gaming, where we go into like extra news episodes. We're doing a battle royale currently of a random selection of characters that we're pitting against each other to see who'd come out on top. And we've got kind of random episodes or crossover episodes, which is what today's post show is about, where I've chosen 2 games to smash together to see if it makes a good game, and so far my record has been poor. But we'll see about this one. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, check out the Patreon. And Craig, thank you so much for hopping onto this. Great to plan an episode. To our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.